All right, I have returned. I was just looking at the board. I mean, there's a ton of stuff to do, right? If we look at the backlog view, which shows like all the stuff recently completed, in the last few weeks, I think 17 items. Still in progress, the custom font. I have a few letters left to do, and then we got to run it through the process and see what that turns up. So at some point, the font will be a thing. It's just kind of not backburnered, but it's a thing when I'm bored. I'm I'm not feeling like doing anything else. I can pull up Inkscape for a bit and get the tablet out and do some of that. Other things down the line that we will be working on for phase 2, right? So we filtered for phase 2. We should rename them. These aren't levels anymore. We're calling these scenarios. I guess I'll scenario 3, scenario 4. So you're like, if you're looking at these, it's like hammock defense, inflatable pool part. What does that have to do with zombie tower defense? The concept here was definitely to have kind of very playful scenarios. I think it's kind of developed in my mind that what I want to do with this, I think, will be to make these first like 4 scenarios, and this will become the tutorial in 4 parts, and they will be I think so anyway. I mean, maybe they could get more sophisticated. I think there's definitely a and if we look at some of the other things in the backlog, like having a challenge system where it's like you have to no turrets, no this, no that, and maybe that's only really feasible for certain scenarios, and having bigger, more complex scenarios where it's more of a traditional tower defense, where there's like it's larger scale, right? But for these first 4 scenarios, the concept of them being like these more compact areas that are more like individual level, I think is what I want to do. I guess the question is going to be like, after we refine these first few scenarios, and we get to like phase 3, maybe, or get through phase 3, right? This game modes, and phase 2 is where we're doing the scenarios. So once we get these things done, is it going to feel like a game that we should have? I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not exactly sure of where I want to go from these scenarios, whether we want to continue doing kind of like small scale, silly, humorous sort of things that's also zombie tower defense, or if this is like these are different because they're like a tutorial, and then we grow the other scenarios out beyond the scope of these things. TBD. But lots to do. One of the things I did do, is it in? Yeah, here we go. Next pass on modeling. So I shared this the other day, but here's a bigger version that I put into the issue on GitHub here. So this is some AI generated mock-up of kind of the style that I wanted to go for with the turrets and support towers and those sorts of things. I'm not sure about this guy, but this sort of feel. So one of the things, I don't think today, I don't know that I'll go for another full hour at this point. Might end it a little early today, but some future stream, maybe Tuesday morning stream, maybe we'll do some modeling and texturing and stuff and try to do this in Blender. It's on the list, but for now though, I was thinking let's do some GitHub Actions stuff. and figure out how. So hold on. So first of all, I have an itch.io account, and I published previously a game on here. Is my simple Pong game that I put up. We can create a new project, and this is going to be Zom Nom Defense. Click, let's see, colon, click, aim, survive. Yeah, let's just do that. Do we have some like placeholder art? Where did I stick that? I think I should be able to find it. Let's see. Not in there. Not in there. Maybe. Maybe in downloads. These are color swatches. What's in here? Nothing? Okay. What about in tower defense? So I have we have textures, but that's not what I'm after. Icons? No, those are like in-game icons. Not materials. I don't know that I have it saved out, but I think I have it on the project itself and the project settings. Yeah, this thing is what I wanted to grab. There we go. Let's just save that image into downloads. This. Perfect. Gameplay video trailer, that would be cool. We'll do screenshots at some point. This is a game. It is downloadable. It is a prototype. If you want to give me money, sure. We don't have a file yet. We do have a description of the game though, which is on the repo page. So let me go grab that. Boop, boop. Genre. What is the genre? Strategy? Contains content produced by generative AI tools. Yes. Code. We don't have any graphics or sounds that are AI generated. Boop, and we'll just have this as a draft right now. There we go. We have an itch.io page. So what I want to do is I want to have the ability to publish the downloadable game here. Neat. How do I do that? Me App Store links. Right. Add external file. What does that do? We just put in a link. I see. Upload a file. Use Butler to upload files. It only uploads what's changed, generates patches for HIO app, and automate it gets started. Tell me about automating that. Butler is a small command line tool that lets you upload builds of your game quickly and reliably, generate patches. Another few utilities, so there's a GitHub link. Interesting. So there are docs. Oh, it's just right where I was. So what does this actually do? Okay. Well, okay. Here we go. Running Butler from CI builds. This is what I'm after. Run login locally. In CI, set the environmental Butler API key. And then get the local API key. Yeah, it should be secret. Okay. Pushing builds. Butler push. Okay. Directory is what you want to upload. It can also be a zip file. User game is project you're uploading. So push 1.8. User game channel, right? So channel is like Windows, OS X, Linux. Okay, cool. This makes sense. Cool. And the channel name, you just like do Windows, Linux, Mac or OS X, Android. Okay. So we can. I think the first thing that I will do is we're going to go to the repo, and we're going to create a secret. It's going to be called Butler API key, and I'm just going to put an X here because one, I don't have it yet, and two, I'm not going to show it on stream. But that'll be the thing that we'll use in GitHub Actions to be able to interact with itch.io. All right, let's go back to main. Why not? I don't know. I don't know that I want people being able to upload things under my account. That might be potentially a way for malicious actions to take place. Just maybe. That's fine. Anyway. So workflows. We have an existing GitHub Action workflow to run our unit tests. We need another one to probably on release upload to itch.io. So we're going to create a release workflow. YAML. And we've already done this before for one of the practice games. In fact, I think maybe in Godot template we have an example of this workflow. Godot CI, right, where we can export for different platforms. I think I will do I want to try to do a web build? Maybe. Let's grab the content here. We'll tweak this a little bit. So one of the things is that why don't we use Godot version here instead of this image? Can we use an environment variable here like this? Have we tried to do that before? I don't know, we'll see. Export name is Nom Defense game. And what version of Godot are we on right now? Yeah. Reload. Help. About. This is 451. So let's target 451 if we can. I guess the question is going to be, so this image, what version, like what tags are out there? Oh, hey, you know what? This project, this action already has built-in support for doing deployment to itch.io via Butler, which conveniently we just created the Butler API key secret that it needs. I don't know what I just clicked, but I don't want to. Okay, so we just need to define these other variables. This is GitLab, but I'm assuming it'll work also for let's look at their test project here. We do need to set up export presets. I don't think I've done that yet for that. So we don't want to. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Oh good. So for this, when we publish a release, we will trigger this workflow. I think we'll just say 4.5. Will that work? I guess we'll find out. So what does it look like if we want to publish to itch.io? Git version builds. Oh, this is probably the release for the action itself, right? Yeah. So Docker Hub is the thing I actually wanted to go look at to see what tags were available. 451. Okay, we'll just do 4.5.1. Okay, so we have to set HIO username, HIO game. Let's go ahead and just set those things. We'll add some variables because these don't need to be secret. It's just Sabin. And the other one was not a new environment, a new repository variable. HIO game, which is going to be. Is it the ID or is it the project URL? Okay, good. So it'll be that. So now how do we trigger this? Okay, I don't want to load that, but we can look at a workflow. Actions, upload artifact. Okay, so this doesn't have GitLab, GitHub workflow, Godot CI. Okay, but like here's an example where it shows deploying itch.io. Does that just happen automatically if we... I should just look at the implementation, right? So there's action YAML. It says use the Docker image, but presumably the Docker image. Let's look at the Docker file. What does Docker file do? It downloads a bunch of stuff. It configures things. It gets Butler. Okay. Which just, it downloads it, makes it executable, etc. So their example. Container steps. Export, release, upload artifact. I guess it's a start just to do the builds, and then we'll figure out. I guess we just need to add ourselves a command to run Butler to publish. So we'll do that in the future. So let's do this. Let's create a branch. Call it itch.io publish. Let's call it release. And we'll commit this, and we'll see. I guess we need a way to manually invoke this to test it out, right? If we just have it where we have to cut a release to run the workflow, then that is not super helpful. So let's do a workflow dispatch. If we do workflow dispatch, then that should be fine. Oh yeah, let's save that, commit that, publish. So this is gonna fail, but how it fails is gonna tell us what we need to do next. We know that we are going to need to do a release notes would be cool. Let's see what Copilot is thinking here. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna... You're going to grab an artifact URL. You're going to run some action I've never heard of. What is soft props action GH release? I'm clicking it. It's not doing anything. Oh, here it is. A GitHub action for creating GitHub releases on... That's cute. No, I don't care about that. I don't care about any of that. I was just kind of curious what AI would do. What we want to do is we want to publish the release. No. Name upload to itch.io. So for that, we want to also use this container. There's not enough info to determine what you meant. Yes, of course. What we want to do is we want to say run. We don't want to use curl. We're going to go back to they don't have an example of using Butler here, but that's fine. We have the docs. We just need to run Butler push. So I guess the question is going to be, ooh, hold on. So do we, when we push, do we give a version number, or are we just not specifying your own version number? Constantly increase. Okay, let's just use its thing rather than worrying about that. Is this what we're doing for the Linux build? I mean, I know I just said that we're going to push this and see what it does and then go from there, but I figured if we can just have this do more, we can see what else breaks if it does exceed otherwise. So first of all, I'm looking at the wrong thing. We want to look at what's happening inside of build Linux. Export name.x8664. Okay, so that seems fine. Web, Linux, Windows. So one, this is not going to work because I haven't put in the secret, but we'll see what it does. I'm excited. So if we go back to our repo, what we'll want to do is we'll go into actions. Can we do this? I guess we might have to merge it first, right? Because otherwise, what was the name of the branch? HIO publish. Right, there's no workflow runs, but can we invoke? Yeah, yeah. Every time I see that button, I think of like, oh, find a workflow to run, but no, it's about configuring a workflow. Let's open a pull request with our changes. We'll create just a normal pull request. So there isn't really a way to like invoke this workflow, I think, until we merge it to main. A thing I could do is I simply could temporarily add a push, right? So remove this before merging to main. There we go, there's release. So we'll see what happens. There we go. So we're going to try to do Windows, Linux, and web exports of the game, which is not going to work, mainly because we've not configured things, but also we can't do this. Can't do this. Be nice if we could. Is there a way to do that? Available expression context. GitHub inputs vars. Let's see. So GitHub action. Container image in var. Yeah, but what if I want to have the tag of the image refer to an environment variable? Here's someone asking maybe this question. So we can have the outputs image, container image. Okay, so couldn't we just vars? Is there a vars? Oops. No, that's how does GitHub Actions work? This does not work. Good to know. Works for me. Okay, so I mean, it does say when you hover over a container image, available expression context, GitHub inputs vars, needs strategy matrix. Vars is not the same thing as env. There's inputs, there's defaults. I don't think we can do that. No, we can't do that. Isn't there a place where you can define variables? I could have sworn somewhere. No, guess not. You can set permissions, description, defaults, concurrency, and run name. Either on top or on the action. On top. This is on top. Yeah, same outer scope. But in the action, you can say env environment output needs permissions. Well, yeah, we have env. The issue is that env is not available for the expression context for the image. Yeah. I would really like to be able to refer to the environment variable instead of having to have this in multiple places, but it doesn't seem that that is possible. Like, we can set an environment variable for the image and do this nonsense. I really don't want to do that though. Creating a Docker container action. Okay, well, it doesn't seem that that's going to work. So we're just going to go with a thing that we know that will work. Even if I hate it. We need to do it here as well. Oh, we missed a version anyway. And there. I guess a thing that we could try, right? Can we take this and just be like Godot CI name? There you go, like this. Which you would think then that maybe you could do this. And then Godot CI image. Will this work? All right, attempt 2. So I think the Windows one is first. Yeah, no, it doesn't like that. It will not interpolate that value. That's unfortunate. It's not supported, according to Copilot here. Environment variables and image filter not interpolated. The image should be directly specifying the version. Thanks. Yep. Linux export configuration is missing config directory present. Okay, I don't care about that. All right, let's switch this. So the Linux export though does proceed because we did in fact put the actual hard-coded image name in it. So it's going to build. Apparently, maybe we don't need to configure the I could have sworn the last time I did this for the other practice project, we did need a export configuration. Maybe not. Or maybe this is going to fail, you know, down here somewhere. What is it doing? Update scripts classes. First scan file system. Oh no. It's doing something. Web export is running. Okay, well I'm gonna go ahead and push this. And that's not going to interrupt the workflow because we didn't make it so that it will interrupt the workflow. That is something that we will eventually want, right? Because we wouldn't. I don't know, maybe. We're eventually going to get rid of push as a trigger for this workflow anyway, so I'm not exactly sure what the what is going to make most sense for, like, do we want, if we cut 2 releases, I guess we want them to proceed in order. Let's see. There's definitely some concurrency stuff we can do here, right? In terms of how the process. There we go. I guess if it's for the same ref, we would cancel in progress. Are those the only options for this? Yeah. Okay, concurrency ensures that only a single job or workflow using the same concurrency group will run at a time. A concurrency group can be any string or expression. Am I thinking on a matrix build? You know, you have a good point. Hold on, let me resolve these conversations so they stop popping up. One thing is that the Linux versus Windows builds are they are set up differently, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe they aren't. Okay, so let's see. We create export templates, copy. Wait, why do we do this? This is actually the comment Copilot left behind, which is why did we do this here and not here? What are the differences? It's the same thing, except one is Windows desktop and .exe, and the other one is Linux X11 x86-64 and web in this path. Maybe we should set up a matrix build. Maybe. Yeah, yes, it does. Maybe true. We might look at that in a second. Yeah. How do I set up that? How do I set that up? Is that a top level? No. Let's take a look. GitHub Action. It's been a while since I've done this. Running variations of a job in a workflow. Job example matrix, strategy matrix, version OS. I mean, for now, it's just going to be OS, right? It's going to be Windows, Linux, web builds. I guess potentially it could be, more than that in the future. Do we using output to define two matrices, handling failures? I guess if we're doing that, how do you so like what we're doing here is we have separate jobs for Windows, Linux, and web, and then we have a publish step that is looking for the produce artifacts. You always reference the Phoenix CI workflow in GitHub when you need to do them. Sure. So like we're getting the produce artifacts, and then we're pushing. I don't know. I think for right now, because one of the things I want to do is I want all of the build steps, all of the up here, the exports, to run first, and then have publish be depend on all three of them, and then it's pulling them all together to publish to itch.io. So I think for now I'm gonna leave it like this. This is gonna be easier to reason about, and I do think that like these steps should be the same on all three of these. So if we did use the matrix, then I guess if we said the target was this or this, we would need a way to get from the target to like this value and this value. Jobs define matrix runs on outputs steps. Oh, hey, look at this. Here is oh, I see. So you define a matrix at runtime, and then you can read that. That's interesting. Consume artifacts. Matrix is from JSON, define matrix outputs colors. Okay. Retrieve artifact. So this is how you would do the thing that I was asking of, like, how do you be like, oh, I'm producing these three artifacts via matrix. How do I find the artifacts, right? So then if we want to matrix configurations. Matrix strategy include. Value of include is a list of objects. Consider the following matrix of fruit, animal, include. This will result in 6 jobs with the following matrix combinations: fruit, apple, animal, cat, color, pink, shape, circle. How? Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, I guess, essentially having a table to be like, okay, if it's red, look up a value. Fail fast would be good if we do that. I think this is interesting. I will, let's do this. Let's add this to the list of things to look at. Releases. Drop a link in there. Okay. So how did our job do? Where did we? Here we go. So 2 is still running. Looks kind of stuck because it's been here for a long while. Yep. Same with the web build. Okay. I'm going to cancel this one. And we'll go look at the third one. Okay, so these have been running for nearly 10 minutes now. And they are all stuck on update scan actions, whatever that is. So that's not great. I think another thing that I should do here is actually try to export the game locally and see that that's working because we've not even done that. Let me commit. What have we done here? Okay, well, concurrency stuff. Great. So project export. There are no presets. So add web. Called it web. Add Windows desktop. Call it Windows. Linux. Call it Linux. And then manage export templates. TLS handshake error. What's up with that? Well, that's going to be a problem. This is probably Godot NixOS. Hey, here's someone on the NixOS. Nix packages. Yep, this looks related. I've seen that before. Okay. Editor settings, network TLS. Okay, so we have to get them. Setting it to an empty string rather than false worked perfectly. Great. I'm sure that's not a problem at all. Still doesn't work. All right. Super. Let's try making this work. Have to restart editor. Let's quit. And maybe, just maybe, this will work. I didn't have these problems before I updated to 4.5, but that's not probably on Godot. That's just packaging in XOS. I have been seeing like an error for quite a while ever since I upgraded it about TLS certs, so that went away seemingly. Hey, all right, so manage export templates, download and install. It works. Only 1.26 gigabytes, Gibby bytes. I think it's just about time for lunch, so we're gonna get as far as we can here in the next minute or two. Export. Can we cut a window or a Linux build? Export project. Let's see here. Let's create a folder called temp. Okay, that worked. So here's a fun idea. Let's go and run that program. Yeah. It might not like it if we run it directly instead of through the shell script. I don't know. Let's run the shell script. Yeah, totally launch it. It's not looking good. Can we open a terminal here? Let's run Nom Zom Defense.sh. Oh right, we're on NixOS. NixOS cannot blow this up. NixOS cannot run dynamically linked executables intended for generic Linux environments out of the box. Yes, indeed. That's fine. Need to package it up for NixOS, but that's a normal kind of problem. It's a me problem, not a Godot problem. Anyway, so that's good. So hopefully, if we, I don't know why this changed. That doesn't need to change. We're gonna add our export presets, so that'll match the expected names, Windows, Linux, and web that we list here. Although not quite, because this should be Linux X11. And Windows Desktop is actually what it was called. I changed it from the default. So there we go. Commit those, push that up. That'll cancel the existing build because we changed the concurrency setting. So this should get canceled, and we'll get a new build going. And maybe that is the having the export config will make this work. We really should have canceled. Oh, right, because the ref is different. I think. Yeah, because the new one's running. I think we'll have to manually cancel this. It doesn't matter. It's not going to be an issue for the normal workflow. All right, so if we look at the Linux export here, it's going to be a while. So I'll be monitoring this. And next game dev coding stream will be Tuesday morning. Tomorrow evening, I will be doing some modded Minecraft. It's Modded Minecraft Monday, as it has been for a couple of years now. Hopefully this doesn't get stuck. I'm hoping they can get past the scan of actions. Yeah, you have a great rest of your day too, Brainless. And we're gonna go find someone to raid, because that's what we do. So thanks so much for coming out to stream today, Brainless, for being here. Did we anyone else to shout out that came? Oh yeah, of course, Temptic came by earlier to share the good news that they've switched to Linux, but not NixOS, which is probably for the best. So it was nice seeing you. I don't know if you're still around, but and then everyone else that came by that was here for a little bit or a long time, doesn't matter. It's great to have some company as I make weird sounds, which is what most of the stream was. All right, so we're gonna go find someone to